Hey everyone, it's Stephanie here, and we're back this week with some more camp fun. This is the final week of the MFT Camp Create Summer Camp. We've had a really awesome time all summer sharing some really fun techniques and having lots of fun camp activities and giveaways, and we really hope that you were inspired through the summer and had a lot of fun playing along. So for the final week of camp, we have some more great techniques and fun designs to create on some cards. So for today's technique, we're going to just do emboss resist. So this is a pretty common technique. It's been around for quite some time, and it's one of my favorite things to do on cards. It never gets old. I love heat embossing. I just think it is such a neat effect on a card design, and it's even that much more rewarding when you heat emboss and then put ink over top and kind of see your image just come out from the white cardstock like it was never even there. I absolutely love that look, and I thought it would be fun to do that today. So I'm going to use the Birthday Speech Bubbles stamps. These are pretty new. They came out in our July release. And these are really fun because they're pretty much completely solid images. So they have the words kind of nested in the middle area and they're etched out. So that's, you see the white area of the word, but the entire speech bubble aside from the word completely stamped solid. So I'm just positioning these onto my card. I wanted to say happy birthday to you using the 3 different speech bubbles. So I'm just kind of positioning it, figuring out how I want those to be. I did know I wanted everything to kind of be over to the right hand side of the panel. And so I'm just kind of letting the 2 speech bubbles, the happy and the to you, kind of go off the side there. And then I'm positioning the birthday one kind of perfectly margined in between the 2. And I'm using my Mini Misti to do this stamping just so that I can pick up all the balloons at once. And I'm just going to put them on the door there of the Misti. And I'm going to rub them with the palm of my hand. I just like to do this with solid stamps, clear ones, just because it helps to make that ink really stick to the stamp and helps you get a really good solid inked impression. So I did that with my palm of my hand first just to get the stamps ready, and now I'm using my Versamark ink to completely coat these in ink. I'm not being shy with the ink at all. I'm completely covering these stamps there. And then my magnet was kind of in the way there, so I just kind of had to shift it. And now I'm going to use some really even pressure. You can kind of see as I push down, the balloon areas kind of go a little bit of a darker color. That's how I know that the ink is transferring onto the cardstock. And because this ink is really sticky, it did stick. I had to really pull it off of the cardstock piece there. But it comes off no problem, and it stamps beautifully, and you get a really great impression. So once I had the stamped images on there, I'm now taking clear embossing powder and I'm completely coating all 3 of those balloons. So right now it looks like absolutely nothing because you can barely see it. I am tilting it a tiny bit in the light and you can see that powder sitting on top of the embossing, or on top of the ink, I'm sorry. And now I'm going to take my heat tool and go ahead and heat set this. Now I used clear for mine because I emboss them onto white cardstock, so they're going to show through as white if you use clear, or you can use white embossing powder if you prefer. It's going to pretty much be the same effect. I just like the clear on the white, just like I said, because it is going on the white cardstock. It's going to appear to be white once we add the ink. So now is the fun, the magic of it all. Now we're going to start to slowly add some ink over top. So I'm using some Distress inks to add the color on here just because they blend really nicely onto the cardstock. And I want to do kind of a blended look and have 3 different colors blend into one another. So I started in the corner with peacock feathers, and then I went ahead and started adding some twisted citron, and I made sure to overlap the 2 inks. I don't want any harsh lines in between the 2 colors. I want them to really look like they're gradating into each other and really blended together. So I made sure I overlapped the peacock feathers with the twisted citron, and now I'm doing the same with cracked pistachio. So I'm going over top of the area that I want the cracked pistachio on, and then I'm also blending it over top of the twisted citron. Now when I get over to the top left corner area of the panel, I'm just kind of letting my hand go lighter and lighter as I go because I want this to fade into the white. I want it to have like a blended look up into the white area and then just to kind of fade off into the white. And then once I had that done, I felt like I kind of lost some of the other colors at the bottom with all of the blending. So I just went ahead and took those original colors and added some more color back onto it and just kind of kept working the ink until I was happy with the blended look on the panel. And you can see as we've worked our way up the card and added all of this ink, we have the 3 speech bubbles that we stamped and heat embossed with the clear embossing powder. They've completely kind of emerged from the ink, and we have these great impressions that are kind of popping out from the ink area. Now to make sure you lift all that excess ink up, I'm just taking a paper towel, and you can see here those speech bubbles go even whiter when I do this. And I'm just kind of wiping over the whole surface and removing any of the excess ink that's kind of sitting on top of the embossing powder. And now I have this really fun design with these great speech bubbles that have the shiny embossed look to them, and they have the great ink blending all around them. So now that we have the Emboss Resist panel all done, it's time to put it together and create a card. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of pattern paper from the Sweet Celebration paper pad from My Favorite Things, and I'm just adhering it to the right-hand side of the card base. And this is just going to kind of peek out from the right-hand side of the panel because we're going to trim that down a tiny bit so it's not as wide as the actual card base. I like the green on green, the tone on tone pattern paper here, and I thought it blended really nicely with the Twisted Citron color that we used in the ink blending. And now I'm going to put some really strong adhesive onto this panel because we did do heat embossing and a lot of ink blending. I want to make sure that it goes really flat onto the card base and really sticks down. So I just like to kind of put my card upside down and line up the top of the panel with the card base and then adhere that on there. And then to add a little bit of separation between the inked panel and the pattern paper piece, because they are both green in color, I decided to add a thin strip of silver foil cardstock. So I just went ahead and put some liquid glue along the edge of the inked up panel, and then I'm just adhering the silver foil cardstock directly onto the pattern paper strip, and then I'll trim it down so it fits on the card front. And then to finish off the card, I just added some clear sequins scattered around the speech bubbles, and I'm just filling the center areas of those sequins with silver stickles to finish them off. And that is the card for today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this technique on Emboss Resist, and now it's time for you to take part. If you want to create a card using Emboss Resist, please go to the description of this video and link it up in the coordinating blog post for today. If you participate in all 5 days of Camp Create Session 3, you will be eligible to win a $150 MFT gift card. And if you simply leave a comment on this video today, you will also be eligible to win a $15 gift card to the MFT online store. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for more camp fun.